In this video, I'll be doing a full build and review of the Ghost Mech Coffins. This incredible Kotobukiya kit is an enemy found in Stranding 2. They have a really unique design, and this kit captures their look and feel entirely. If you're a fan of the game, or just like a cool looking mech kit on your shelf, don't pass this up. I'll be going over the full build, plus all the detailing including panlining, painting, water decals, and also how to get that dirty tar look seen in the game. Check out the description for bookmarks to each step, and let's get started. The box is huge, compared to the amount of runners it actually has, so don't let the size intimidate you. The plastic is of high quality, but is only 4 colors: red, black, gray, and steel. It doesn't include a stand, and you'll really need one for this kit. The manual has some pretty cool concept illustrations used in the game, which is nice. The assembly of this kit is very easy. Almost all the parts were just 2 halves that go together. There is the inner frame, followed by a few pieces of armor that fit on top of it. While the assembly is easy now, it is a trade-off I will discuss later when we start to detail and paint things. The single color pieces hide a lot of the details, and I kinda wish that they would have split some of the pieces up more with black inner frame to save on all the painting that had to be done later. All the arms and legs use mostly the same numbered pieces, so they can be assembled at the same time pretty much. If you're enjoying this build and review, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot, and will help you know when I post the other build and reviews tutorials. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and I would love to know if you've ever played this game or built a Kojima kit. Thank you so much for watching! Since the pieces are mostly pretty big, it makes snipping and cleaning easy. I also didn't have any issues fitting the pieces together. It's important to clean up all the gates though, since they would block the tight fits if you leave any behind. The tail is a bendable wire. End fits in the back and goes in with a sharp 90-degree bend. I didn't do any seam line removal since there's an alternate dog mode that would require you to take apart the head and the legs to replace the inner frame. The legs aren't very posable either, since the shock on them are in a set position, and also have to be replaced for the dog form. The aspect of alternate joints is something I wish they would have improved upon. All the guns and mechanical parts are also just two parts with a few black inner pieces. Once again, lots of detail hidden in a simplistic mold. The initial assembly looks great. However, all the monotone red pieces make it look a bit cheap. I'm doing the pan lining next, and if you're building this kit, I recommend at a minimum doing the lining and the water decals. For detailing, I'll be using the Tamiya Black panel liner, black and silver real touch markers, and steel and flat black paint. We want to disassemble it for the most part. I started with some basic pan lining, but as you'll soon see, I continue to do various lining all the way through the detailing of the kit. As mentioned before, I highly recommend at a minimum doing panel lining. That alone will bring out a bunch of the details and make it look pretty cool. Take note, when taking it apart, use a proper tool to pry it apart. I had a few problems with pegs breaking off when just trying to pull things apart by hand. The illustration called for a few sections to be white. In some of these cases, I opted to use spray paint, so I masked off the areas with some masking tape and used basic white primer on these parts. Almost all the pieces are a solid red color. There's so much detail that needs to be black in the design though. Pan lining won't work for coloring these areas, so you have to bring out the hand paints to get these details. Flat black will get about 90% of it. Some parts seem to match the inner frame, so I use steel for these cases. When you do paint, I recommend going for making a bit of a mess and making sure the areas are fully painted and filled. There are a lot of hard edges, so it makes cleaning up really easy and gives it a clean look. I do use black markers later on a lot, and it is a viable option for these parts. You see me painting here too. Use a marker and everything, just make sure you give it a few passes to achieve a solid black foundation. Take note, there is a lot of detail that needs to be painted on this kit. I mentioned earlier how the assembly was easy, and this is the trade-off. I can't emphasize enough how much painting needs to be done. The painting needed is mostly in flat black, which makes it easy. so this might be a good kit if you're looking for something to learn basic skills on. All the parts I masked and spray painted feel like they could have been brush painted also, so keep that in mind. I continue to work over the kit, trying to get game accurate colors. I mostly switch back and forth from panel lining to painting. For any of the faded or dirty areas, I used a marker. It's easy enough to apply the marker liberally, and wiping it away will leave all the dirt in the crevices like a wash. You will see me exclusively use markers near the end for the tar and mud effects too. For all this first pass, my goal was mostly a clean look. With all the basic detailing done, I had a quick look over. Now we are ready for the water decals. Get out a little dish of water and some paper towels. This kit has a lot of decals and most are really small, so get ready. When doing water decals, you only need to leave them in the water just until the backs become wet. Then you can remove it and put it on a paper towel. The backing is designed to soak a proper amount of water to loosen up the glue. If you leave it too long in the water, you risk losing the glue or weakening the seal itself. If you ever find your seal is not sticking or tearing apart, the reason is most likely left it in the water too long. The seals in this kit had different levels of difficulty. I always try to do the leg and arm parts at the same time to make sure they were aligned the same. Some seals, like the forearm, had multiple pieces, and they were the hardest parts of the kit's water decals. The decals were not designed with mirrored versions for the sides of the legs. You have to make a decision if you want to rotate them or not. I chose to rotate so the design pointed in the same direction. The coffin also had a bunch of decals. Some that spanned gaps between pieces, and others that wrapped around the sides. Stay vigilant and get these done, because they have a lot of visual impact. With all the decals done, I gave it a lacquer semi-gloss top coat. This will ensure we don't mess up the lining or decals in the next step. With the top coat fully dry, I put a diluted wash mixture of multi-black and multi-gray. I made this really diluted in order to give it a slightly dirty and uneven color look. This is pretty subtle, but it helps remove the fake plastic feel kits tend to have. I recommend doing another light top coat after doing Mr. Weathering washes, since the particles can come off and make a slight mess. With all that done, I was ready to do the last part, and that was to apply the mud-like tar found all over the units in the game. I chose to do this with a marker. Worth noting that markers will lighten after drying. So you might need to do a few touch-up rounds after the initial application. If you go with paints, you won't have this issue. For the bigger areas, I slowly applied the marker and tried to simulate how the tar would flow over the kit. Using a cotton swab to blend, lighten, and even it out. This was all pretty fun. Good news is, if you mess up, you can just wipe it off and try again since we have that top coat layer on below it. This is also a good time to darken and panel line in the recessed areas that seem too red still. It's usually a good idea to do this step with everything still mostly together. That way you can make sure everything is consistent and flowing in the same direction. Worth mentioning that this kit I did use a silver marker instead of a traditional silver dry brush. It allowed me to do a bit more precision in the chipping, and I was able to smear it easier. From here, I continued to work over the whole model slowly. Putting black dots down wherever it would look like tar would build up, and then smearing or making it drip. I was so happy with the way this kit turned out. It was really a low stress kit to put together, and all the detailing was easy and relaxing. It looks so unique. I would also recommend it for anyone that hasn't even played the game. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this build, please like and subscribe, and I welcome you to join me over on Twitch, where all this footage came from. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and have a great day.